Better late than never. Hey, y'all. Day 3. Love this song. Listen to what it's saying. Now I know better. Better late than never. I don't know who needs to hear that, but better late than never. Another oldie but goodie. What's up, y'all? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I cannot believe we have officially made it to night 3 of our 3-day series, Spare the Rod and the Child. If you are here, somebody drop something in the comments. These last couple of nights with StreamYard. One night it was saying it's not taking Facebook comments. Last night it just kicked everybody out. So I had to upload the recording. So if you are here, say something so I can see if I can see comments tonight. Hoping that is the case. If not, we're gonna move on anyhow, but I'm really hoping I can actually see comments tonight. So we will see. All right. So again, welcome you guys to night 3 of Spare the Rod and the Child. If you do not know me, my name is Elise, and these last couple of nights I have enjoyed so much. Day 1, I got the opportunity to share my story. Day 2, we discussed some common beliefs and if they are fact or fiction around this idea of spare the rod and the child, or spare the rod, spoil the child. Shout out to everyone with all the feedback from last night. It was just so encouraging to hear just some of the takeaways from that time. So we had a great time last night, even though we had some technical difficulties, but that's all right. We moving forward. And then tonight, we're going to discuss, so now what? I even got some messages asking that, like, so now what? Like, I'm bought in, like I'm hearing some things I never heard before. So now what? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And really quick, because I'm not seeing comments pop up, I'm going to see if I can open another screen just so I can hopefully and really see comments this way. Let's see. Okay. We got a plan B, you guys. So, hey, my mama and daddy on here. Hey, y'all. I see Sarah. Hello. Okay. So we have a backup for comments. So we're going to pray that nothing disconnects tonight, and we're going to keep moving. All right, you guys. So tonight we're going to talk about, so now what? So remember, when it comes to gentle, whatever you want to call it, whether you call it gentle parenting, positive parenting, conscious parenting, whatever you call it, right? The overall goal is to parent from a place of understanding, compassion, and connection, instead of this ideal of parenting from overwhelm, frustration, and reaction. Because I believe the one thing that when I say all parents, and these are parents I have worked with or just parents I know, even parents in other countries. One thing I've come to realize is that all parents have in common this desire to parent with a sense of ease. And one way to do that is to shift our focus from control to connection. So the last 2 days, I've made a lot of mention to brain science and this idea of considering where our kids are developmentally. And I'm telling y'all, this is a real life parent hack, okay? Because the reality is that with other areas of limitations, we understand the importance of meeting someone where they are. So for example, if a person without sight was lost and bumped into me, I will literally meet them where they are and support them, right, towards where they're going. And so we have to have that same understanding, because that's a visual of parenting with our kids' developmental stage in mind, meeting them where they are. And that allows us to be able to be more understanding of what we're seeing because we understand where they are. All right. So tonight, again, I want to just I want us to be able to walk away with some foundational, but also some practical steps if you are interested interested in whether you are strengthening your current gentle or conscious journey, or if you like, okay, I think I'm ready to start one. All right. So wherever you fall at on that, hopefully you can walk away, or I believe you will walk away tonight with some actual practical steps or new understandings of how to actually do that. All right. And so I do believe. Oh, hold on, y'all. I see comments. Hey, Rashara. Hey, Dunn. Yeah, I'm just excited. It's our first night actually being able to see comments. So I'm not gonna get distracted, yeah. If you say something, I may not respond right away. Some things I will jump in and address, and some things I'll wait if there are actual questions. If not live, I'll make sure I go back and respond when off. All right. So again, thanks you guys for being here. So when we talk about just starting this journey, I really believe that starts with understanding our role. When I say our role, the parents, right? What is our role? Because so for so many people who are listening right now, maybe the example you've seen of parenting is this belief that the parent is the dictator or the parent is the authoritarian and the enforcer, which is often why the physical punishment is used, because it gives this sense of control and authority. But again, we are shifting from control to connection. Control to connection. Somebody type that for us. Control to connection is the goal. All right. So I want to talk about what is our role, what is a helpful communication focus, what is the goal based on what stage our child is in, and what is an ideal time to connect with our kids, because again, we're focusing on shifting from control to connection. All right, so based on where they are developmentally, what is our goal, what is a helpful communication focus, what is the overall goal, and what is an ideal time to connect with our kids. So I do want you guys to be able to see this. Hopefully this pops up. Perfect. So when it comes to, if you are a parent of a child who is in this pre-K age, I want you to really think of your role as a coach. Okay. When you think about a good coach, what are some words that come to mind? Feel free to type those in the chat if you're able. What are some words that come to mind when you think about a good coach? Because again, when our kids are in this developmental stage, our role is to be a coach. So hopefully when you think about coach, some words that come to mind are positive, enthusiastic, supportive, focused, patient. Yes, I see Sarah says supportive, knowledgeable, observant, clear, communicator. What else, Sarah? Because Sarah is a swimming coach. Yeah. So thank you, Sarah. That's a really good one, supportive. But hopefully these are some of the words that come to mind when you think about a good coach. Because when we think about this age, this is our focus, seeing ourselves as a coach, because a coach can be very boundaried yet supportive while teaching the necessary skills. So again, when we're working with kids who are in this age range, in this stage, seeing ourselves as a coach is a way to really capitalize on that time. And let me get this off of there so y'all can see that. Sorry about that. All right. So that seeing yourself as a coach is a huge way to capitalize on that developmental stage. And when it comes to the communication focus on this stage, encouraging words are so important for kids in this age range, because kids actually start to experience limited beliefs at the age of 3. So you're not familiar, limited beliefs are the state of mind or belief about yourself that restricts you in some way, because it restricts how you see yourself in the world. And so again, kids start experiencing limited beliefs as early as the age of 3. So that's why it's so important that as we see ourselves as coach, we are encouraging them. Because again, this is when all those thoughts begin to come of not being good enough, not being smart enough. And imagine how that can just grow throughout the years and lead into adulthood. And so we see ourselves as the coach and the encourager that really helps set the stage and the foundation of who they grow to believe they are. All right. So when it comes to the goal in this age range, in this stage, is to instill purpose. All right. We're helping them to feel valuable, letting them see those moments to be independent and make choices. If you have a child in this age, you know, they always want to do things by themselves. They want to pick out their clothes. Even if we don't like it, right, don't match it, don't make sense, but they want to be independent. One way we can help instill purpose in them is by allowing them to have those moments to be independent. But here's the thing, that does not mean we let our kids run buck wild and do whatever they want to do. Sometimes being boundary looks like giving options. So you're setting the boundary by giving these two options, but then letting them choose. That's still a very simple yet powerful way to allow them to make those choices, okay? As you coach them along as the coach. And the best time to connect, because again, we're shifting our focus. This is step one, shifting our focus from control to connection. Being super intentional, the best time to connect with this age range is at bad time, all right? So when you are making that a routine to use that time to connect, like let that be a sacred time and the focus being connection. So using that time to encourage them and instill those value principles. So the things that you are wanting them to grow and develop in, the values you have identified for your house, how are you talking to them, unpacking that during that bad time to see if they can make those connections to how those values actually happen in their day? All right. So again, pre-K age, your role as the coach, communication style, encouraging words, and the goal is to instill purpose. For my elementary parents, all right, it is so powerful to see your role as a friend. I know somebody was like, hold on now. Maybe in your household, you grew up here, I ain't one of your little friends, right? Very, very common in our culture, that saying of I ain't one of your little friends. But here's the thing, y'all, let's think about that for a second. Why not? Why have we made this a tradition, a thing to where we feel like we cannot be our child friend? Think about that. Friendship is all about listening. Friendship is about accountability. It's about responsibility. It's about growing together. Why do I have to miss out on that because I'm the parent? Absolutely not. Like, I want in on that. And on top of that, it's an opportunity for me to model to my kids what healthy friendships look like. Imagine my friends, my kids having a foundation so they can, when they do start getting friends, it's like, hold on now, this ain't healthy because mommy and daddy are a friend of mine, and this is what that looks like. And so I really want us to just kind of throw that generational pattern out the window. This whole idea, like, I'm not one of your little friends, because again, it's a prime time to teach some valuable skills that they can have for a lifetime. And on top of that, when we talk about this idea of shifting from control to connection, when it comes to discipline, how can I respectfully discipline my child if I don't have a foundation of connection, which is what friendship is about? And how can they come to me if they have a problem if we don't have a foundation of trust, which is what friendship is about? So again, you can be parent and friend in a very healthy way. Not only can you, but you need to be at this stage, at this elementary stage, because it's so important, especially at this stage, that we are having these casual and relaxed conversations. Notice the communication focus is informal dialogue, because it makes it easier to help them interpret life, because that's what they're trying to figure out in elementary. Because think about it, in elementary, that's when they're starting to understand these abstract concepts more, right? When it comes to death, they're now realizing like, oh, that means the person is really not coming back. So they're really trying to figure out life at this stage. And so imagine if I have a friend, because do we really want them asking these questions to their elementary friends? Yeah, absolutely not. It will make more sense to come to us. And so when they know that they can come to us, it'll keep them coming with those questions. All right. And the best time to connect with this age range is those car rides. Think about it, you guys. These are the prime chauffeur years. All right. Any elementary parents listening? Like, you are the number one transporter, more than likely, right, of your kids at this age. So this is a real good time to capitalize on that. You know, music is great, radio is great, and that could be a point of connection within itself. But if it's not, if it's more so tuned out, zoned out, and just not communicating, let's turn that off and use that time to talk about what happened at school, to talk about what happened today that made you laugh. Because that whole how was school, y'all know how they go. Oh, it was fine. It was good. No, let's ask questions that are open-ended. So tell me about a time today that somebody made you laugh. Or was that a time today that you got angry? Like, so using that car ride time to really build that connection. All right. And so our next stage, okay, of just again these practical tools on how to really capitalize on where they are to build this foundation to discipline well. Because again, discipline means to what? Who remembers? Discipline means to teach, right? And so to even set that foundation, just really understanding our role based on where our kids are is a huge life hack. So let's go with the next one. If your child is in middle school, I want you to see your role as a teacher. I want you to see your role as a teacher, okay? And this will include more formal discussions because, again, we are establishing values, not introducing. We already introduced them in the pre-K age, right? We introduced there as we are instilling purpose, but in these middle school years, now we are really establishing those values because we're helping them establish values because the reality is at this stage, your kids will be more interested in their friends' opinions than yours. That's just that's just the stage they're in. Okay, it's normal. It's okay. Don't be offended. That's where they are. But if you have helped them establish values they feel connected to, so what are the things that motivate them? What are the values you guys believe in as a household, and the things that are personally important to them? Once we help them establish them, and they feel connected to them, it gives them a baseline for decision making. So as they are being influenced, around their peers, if they know what their values are and what the family values are, they're able to try to start making decisions from that place as their prefrontal cortex, that's that thinking part of the brain, as it's growing. All right. So giving them that baseline of how they want to make decisions is so powerful. And so again, we're using this for those formal discussions at the dinner table. So please, if you do nothing else with middle school age, make dinner time a routine if it's possible. I know schedules and a lot of things, may stop that from being possible for your household. But if it is possible, making that a family routine to sit down and have those formal discussions about their friendships, about their relationships, and help them connect those things that's happening in their real life to the values that they believe in. All right. So that is middle school. And then if you are a parent or guardian for a high school student, I really want you to be intentional about seeing yourself as their counselor. Okay. And when I say counselor, you are someone they can confide in without worrying about their business being spread. That's a big deal. I remember working with a student one time and her mom just thought their relationship was just so good, and it was not. And that's one thing the student revealed. She was like, because you tell my business to your sister, and I don't want auntie so-and-so knowing the things that I talk to you about. And mom was just shocked. She's like, I never thought about it. I thought we was all close and connected. But here's the thing, as a counselor, no, confidentiality is the number one rule, right? And so again, if you have a household where you have a partner or a spouse or whatever, talk to the child about what does that look like when it comes to making sure we're all on the same page. But just in general, as counselor, making sure your child know you are someone they can confide in without worrying about their business being told. All right. And the communication focus in this age range is that intimacy, being able to have intimate conversations, having those heart to hearts, because a lot is going on. A lot is going on at this age. So having that space to have those heart to hearts, because as they grow closer to navigating the world on their own, the goal is to build intimacy so they can always feel connected to you no matter how far they go in their transition. And the prime time to do that with this age is bedtime. Because think about it, they on the move, they probably got different activities going on, just not as connected or plugged in as they were in the younger years when you were really getting them around. So bedtime, right before bedtime, making that a routine when everyone is finally home. What does it look like to connect and unpack and kind of, recap the day and have those heart to hearts to check in. All right. So that is the prime time for connection. Just curious to know, based on who is on right now live, and if you're catching a replay, still put it in. But what role are you in right now? What role are you in right now for those who are on? And maybe you are in the beyond years, and that's okay too, which usually goes back to the friendship mode, right? But for those who are on, what stage are you in? What stage are you in? I see Amber is in counselor stage. All right, so you have the high schooler. Quick reminder, pre-K was coach, elementary friend, middle school teacher, high school counselor. So I just want you, even if you don't put it in the chat, just make a note to yourself on the stage you are in. All right. Remember, you guys, concerning discipline in all of these stages, we're asking the question, what does my child still need to learn? That is the focus. So again, if you are like, okay, how do I make this shift from control to connection? We're always asking the question, what does my child need to learn? Because behavior is always communicating a need. Always, always, always. And usually the need, not usually, never, never the need is to be beat. It's just not. So if we again change our lens to, okay, what is this behavior communicating? What is the need? What does my child still need to learn? I need somebody to write that down, to keep that in the forefront of our mind. Behavior is always communicating a need. And my job is to pause and ask, what does my child still need to learn? All right. So I see Don is coach, friend, and counselor. Come on, dual roles. Rashera, friend and teacher, middle school mom, all the hearts, all the hearts and all the love to you, Rashera. So yes, thank you guys for sharing your roles. All right. And so what we just went over when it comes to our role, the communication focus and the goal, that is that part of being able to parent from a place of understanding, compassion, and connection. All right. That is again, step one to be able to parent from a place of understanding, compassion, and connection. So we're going to do one more step tonight. All right. And that is, okay, so how do we get out of the parenting from the overwhelm and the frustration? Okay. And here's how, you guys, problem solving itself is a whole skill set. And sometimes things, the reality is, sometimes things can be so triggering. Sometimes things can be so triggering that you like, I'm not thinking about how to solve no problems in the moment. I'm hot. I'm mad. I'm not thinking about how do I solve a problem. And I get it, right? That again, that's that place of overwhelm, frustration, and reaction. And so I think it's super important that we take the time to learn about how to honor our emotions. And let me just take this off for a second before we even get in this, because I need to, I say see y'all, I can't see y'all, but I need to feel a little closer right now. But when it comes to honoring our emotions, before we even get into the takeaways with that tonight, I think it's important that we just pause here for a second, because the reality is that many people, okay, have not learned how to honor their emotions. And the reality is that a lot of people are taught that emotions should be ignored, that they should be fixed, that they should be buried and hidden, instead of actually being embraced and honored. Embraced and honored, right? And so this is just the reality. So if you are listening to me and you grew up in a household that didn't know how to handle your emotions, know that that is not uncommon, okay? And I also want to name, I don't think it's that they didn't want to honor your emotions, but 9 times out of 10 they didn't know how to. They didn't know how to. Think about what we talked about yesterday, about how those generational patterns keep going, and they just keep going and keep going. I don't think it's that they didn't want to honor your emotions. They did not know how to, because no one honored theirs. And yesterday's challenge, I hope you guys were able to actually sit with that and do that if you had the capacity, because a big one that I often see is that this trigger of whining. Like, what is this that triggers us when our kids are, why is that so triggering when our kids are whining? And for some people, not everyone, but for some people, that is so triggering because it's speaking to the generational tradition of not being able to put words to what you're feeling, or not being able to even just sit and be upset when you were upset, and not being allowed to just express, or even not being accepted if you were in that state of whining. And so again, just really begin to unpack, why are things so triggering? And the reality is, when we do not let our kids just fully express themselves with boundaries, it comes with that, okay? But when we don't allow them to express themselves, we are not honoring their emotions, all right? So if you grew up in a household that did not do that, again, I don't think it's because they didn't want to. Maybe they just didn't know how to. But I think it's so important that we remember that emotions were never designed to be this nuisance, but instead they are a God-given gift, you guys, that gives us so much insight and so much direction. And they come with so much wisdom, because they can point us to areas of ourselves that need our attention. All right. I'm gonna read some comments real quick. Okay. Done is finger snapping. Behavior is always communicating a need. Yes, my goal is to pause and see what does my child need to learn. Yes, Patricia. Patricia also said that they just didn't know how to honor my emotions. Yes, because they didn't know. They didn't know, right? Again, I believe all parents are doing the best they know how with what they know. So shout out to y'all for showing up and adding to your toolbox, right? When we know better, we do better. All right. So thank you guys for chiming in. And I want to just think about this really quick again before we jump into these practical tools with honoring our emotions. Just think about that for a second when it comes to how did your parents honor your emotions? Because a lot of times people try to save us from our emotions, or they dismiss them by saying things not a big deal. Or maybe you were even punished for feeling how you feel. The told stop crying, or you're doing too much, you're too emotional, or maybe you were just flat out ignored and no attention was given whatsoever. Okay. But again, I don't think that was intentional. I think they just not have the skill set to know how to honor yours. So I want us to interrupt that generational pattern and have the steps that we need to begin to honor our emotions. Because I want you guys to remember something super important. All right. When it comes to our emotions, when it comes to our feelings, please remember that feelings do not need to be fixed, they need to be felt. Feelings do not need to be fixed. They need to be felt. And the only way out is through. That's why so many people are sick. That's why so many people have so many different issues going on because those different emotions that should have been coming through are still kept inside. The only way out is through. And that's either through by staying in our body and coming out through sickness, or that's coming through our behavior. But the only way out is through. All right. So if you struggle with simply feeling your emotions, that could be for a number of reasons. Again, mostly because it was just never a taught skill. You never witnessed anyone honor emotions in your childhood. Maybe emotions were again dismissed by you being told to stop crying or stop doing this. Maybe emotions were labeled as good or bad, so you reject the bad ones. But again, it's really not a good or bad. They're all here to be felt. All right. And so maybe that's the reason, or maybe one reason you struggle to connect because you life taught you that you needed to deny your emotions as a form of self-protection. That's the reality for a lot of people, because in the past, when you showed your emotions, you were either made fun of or taken advantage of. And so now you hold them in as a form of self-protection. And if that's true for anybody, I'm just going to take that breath with you right now. Because that felt heavy. The reality that life has taught you that you need to hide your emotions because you were either made fun of or taken advantage of. But I want to remind you, emotions were never designed to be fixed. They were made to be felt. All right. And so if any of that is true for you, I just want to remind you, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity that you can learn something new if you so choose. That's the grace in it all. That's the beauty of it all, that we have an opportunity to learn new skills. All right. And so regardless of the reason, again, it's never too late to learn how to honor our emotions. And so this is our last thing we're gonna go through, you guys, for tonight. And I would just encourage you to take notes if you can. So when it comes to honoring our emotions, I like to use this 5-step hand model because I think it's really simple and also very easy to remember. And it's not just something we can practice as adults, but we can also teach our kids and practice with them as well. And so when it comes to the 5-step model on how to honor our emotions, the first one is I am. I am. That is simply acknowledging that something has triggered an emotion. So, again, really quick, these are the steps that we can take to begin to honor our emotions before we even talk about discipline. Because, again, when you 38 hot, you ain't trying to solve no problem. Like, that is not on the forefront. That is not what we're thinking about. But the reality is, if we are truly going to get into a place to shift from control to connection, we got to check in with ourselves first. All right. And that first step is I am, simply recognizing that you have been triggered. That sounds simple, but it's really not simple when we think about it. How often? Because it takes a level of awareness. It takes a level of awareness. And how often has someone asked you, they asking because it's obvious you're not okay, but they say, are you okay? You like, yeah, I'm fine. And it's like, no, you're not. You are not okay, right? You are not okay. And being able to acknowledge that, but sometimes we go from 0 to 100. But the reality is there are a whole lot of numbers in between there that was giving us a warning before we got to that point. And so I am is, again, the ability to recognize that something has triggered you. How do we do that? By being aware of our body. What somatic feelings, what bodily feelings do you get when you are triggered? Does your chest tighten up? Does your stomach start to hurt? Do your hands get hot? Like, what are the signals your body gives you when you're starting to get triggered? That's the first step. Getting in tune, being self-aware with this amazing gift that guys gave us of our body to know, because none of us go to 0 to 100. We hit all those numbers in between there, but it takes practice to be aware of those bodily changes before we get to 100. So that's the first one. I am acknowledge that something has triggered an emotion. The second one is I feel, being able to put a name to what we are feeling. So once you are actually triggered, what is that emotion? I always say we have to name it to tame it. And this is actually bad. I'm not sure why this on there the wrong way, guys. I apologize. But the second one should be I feel. I'm gonna put the next one up. The second one should be I feel, naming it to tame it. So actually identifying what is the emotion. What is the emotion that we're actually feeling? And again, sounds simple, but think about that. When somebody asks you, I'm just feeling some type of way. Nah, that's not a feeling, sis. What is the actual feeling? You're irritated, you're upset, you're frustrated, you're sad, you're hurt, you're disappointed. These are actually language to our emotions that, again, this is a skill set that has to be taught. And again, be patient with yourself if this is a skill set that you were never taught. If you were never taught, you were never taught. It's just there. But now you have the tools to actually not just teach yourself, but practice it with your kids also. So I know it says third on here was actually the second step, saying I feel, name it to tame it, stating what you actually feel instead of saying I'm good or I'm straight. And then it should be the third one, I calm. All right. So that's breathing deeply and noticing the emotion without judging it. Please do not underestimate the power of your breath. The power of your breath. I know a lot of people talk about breathing, but we don't often talk about like why it's so powerful. And the short version of that is that when we are triggered, when our nervous system is telling us we need to either fight, run, or freeze, right? All these different organs begin to pump up because they think they need to save our life. So our heart beginning to raise, right? Literally the spit, you guys, is dried up in our mouth because your body's saying, you don't need no spit right now, sis. You need to fight. You need to protect yourself. So our body is responding to being triggered. And so when we take the moment to just breathe, it's literally sending a signal to our body that I am okay. I am safe. Heart, you can stop racing. Spit, you can come back and hydrate my mouth. Stomach, you can unknot. I am safe. And so it helps our body begin to get it back into a regulated space because we're sending the signal to our organs with our oxygen that I am safe. I am safe right now. And so just using the power of your breath to just breathe is a way to practice I calm. All right. And then the fourth step on our hand model is I choose. So I choose is not just accepting the feeling, but it's also choosing a common activity to self-regulate. So what is that thing for you? Like sometimes, yeah, I literally just make myself laugh. Like think about that when you're really not feeling, but it's like you can make yourself laugh if you want to, okay? But literally just making yourself laugh. Maybe for someone else is listening to music. It's also something called cold water immersion that I would encourage you guys to look up or even try. But if you splash cold water on your face, or if the space allows you like literally to take a cold shower, that is a way to almost reset our nervous. Like it's a science to this, yeah. And so I would just encourage you to not just look that up, but practice that using cold water to help get it literally kicks in our restful state. Again, it's like a way to reset our nervous system. It's called cold water immersion. Look it up. And maybe that's one you can add to your toolkit. But I would encourage you to identify what are the things that bring me back to a calm space. Is it a song? Is it a hilarious YouTube clip? Like, what is the thing that I need? So for me, one thing I actually help my kids keep me accountable, because if I got a lot going on, I'm the person who likes things to be a certain way. And so especially if I have like a lot of projects to complete or tasks to do, and all this other stuff calling my attention, like that is what like puts me in a state of like not being the funnest person to be around. But I have learned how to equip my kids to help hold me accountable. So we have this thing where they know to be like, where's my mommy? Like if I am irritated, if I'm talking in a way that they know is not like loving, like they detect that. And so we have this thing where they say, where's my mommy? Because that's mommy bear. where that's mommy bear, where's my mommy? And like, yeah, it's playful because it's like it stopped me in my track, but it's also this way of them literally holding me accountable. Like, that's mommy bear, where's my mama? Like, you're right. Here she is. Right. And so I even do that with them, especially the old. I'm like, hold on, that's baby bear. What my girl at? What's going on? What we feeling? What do we need to talk about? And so finding what works for you, but just start first with what are the calming tools that you can use, and don't wait till the moment to figure out your calming tools. Don't do that to yourself. Figure that out when you're in a good space. What are the things I can use, the tools I can choose to help myself regulate, okay, so I can be more present. And then last but not least, you guys, is I solve is what the goal is, what the first goal is, right? The overall goal is. So now that we're in a calmer state, we're able to recognize that we're triggered. We were able to name what we were feeling. We're able to calm by using our breath. We were able to choose an additional tool if necessary to help ourselves regulate more. So now let's solve the problem. Because again, we did all of that to get the thinking part of our brain back online. So now we're in a calmer state to solve the problem. Because the reality is, if my kids are yelling at each other over the same toy, the issue is really not them yelling. The issue is, okay, this is the opportunity to practice a skill of problem solving. And like literally we talk about that. So let's solve the problem, you guys. What is the problem? And they can literally come up with solutions. Well, I'm going to keep it for 2 minutes. They really don't have no concept of time for real yet. But they'll say, well, I keep it for 2 minutes. And then Carter can get it for the next 2 minutes. And so again, what does my child need to learn? After I'm able to calm myself down, now I can think clearly. What does my child need to learn? What is the skill? And that is discipline. That is discipline. That is teaching the lacking skill. And so I hope you guys are able to use this 5-step model. I think it's such a powerful tool. Even if you just got to start with one finger, start there. Just start with one finger, okay? And move up to all 5 when you're ready. But just starting somewhere is still such a powerful opportunity. All right. And I wanted to share really quick because this was yesterday. I want to share a video with y'all of my daughter yesterday. It was after school. Y'all don't judge my baby. It was Wacky Tacky Day. Shout out to BSA. It is Spirit Week right now. And yesterday was Wacky Tacky Day. So she was still in her Wacky Tacky attire. But she had a moment. And when she said what she said, I was like, oh, I want to record that. And she let me record. And I want to share that with you all really quick, just after we went through those 5 steps. And I just want you to see what she said. All right. And so let me try to pull this up. Tell me what you just said. What did you just say?
I feel myself getting...
Start it over. So I'm asking her to tell me, what did she just say?
I want you to tell me what you just said. What did you just say? I feel myself getting mad. And then I went in my room and I sat somewhere else where I felt comfortable. And then I said, okay, I feel myself getting mad. So I'm going to take some deep breaths. And when I breathed, I felt better.
What did you say you felt yourself getting mad? Where did you feel that at?
Right here.
Oh, in your chest? What did it feel like?
Feel like it was beating fast.
Really? Oh my gosh. And you said you found somewhere comfortable and you realized you found yourself feeling mad in your chest. And then you did what, girl?
I breathed.
Girl, that's all right now. That is all right. Kayla, are you proud of yourself?
Yes.
You should be, girl. So if you notice, like she basically is learning how to walk through those steps. She said, I felt myself getting mad. She was able to identify she felt that in her chest. She felt her heart beating fast. I felt myself getting mad. So I went to my room and found a comfortable place to sit. Again, I felt the madness in my chest, and I used my breath to get in a better. And I think her and Carter was fighting about something then, yeah. and she realized she was getting mad, she removed herself. And here's the thing, you guys, I'm not saying that to say my kids are so amazing. Even though they are, don't get it twisted. My kids are amazing. I am unapologetic about that. But I'm not saying that to say like this is some wow factor. I'm saying even a 4-year-old can do it. And even though some of us have not had those tools, maybe you didn't have those tools in your own upbringing, but it's still not too late. It's not too late. That's the beauty of our brain, called neuroplasticity, meaning we can learn and evolve and grow our minds and learn new skill sets. All right. And so I just want to share that to be an encouragement to you all. And I thought that, and I was just so proud, so proud to just see her be able to identify those steps. Now imagine all of the little Black and brown kids we know being able to be equipped with that skill. Just imagine that. Imagine the impact that can make, not just for the world and the society and the schools and our homes, but for them. And so now don't get it twisted too, though. It ain't always like that. Okay, it is not all, and that's the thing with it. Like, we have to continue to practice this. It's building the muscle. So don't get it twisted. Yeah, it is not always like that. But to have those moments, those win moments like that, it show that it's working. It show that it's a muscle being built. And I just believe it'll get stronger and stronger. So that is our time for tonight, you guys. I do need to, a couple of things though. Don't log off yet. Y'all know I got to hit you with a challenge. All right. So if you were listening tonight, you made it to this point, I do want you to make sure that you take some time to identify what role you're in with your child right now. I know some people typed it in the chat, but what role are you in? And I want you to select a day this week that you're going to be intentional about that particular communication focus and that goal. All right. And if you can, I would encourage you right now, if you're not watching this on your phone, pull out your phone and put it in your calendar. What day within the next week are you going to be intentional about meeting at that time? Whether it's that bath time, car ride, bedtime, be intentional about meeting at that time and just being intentional about your role and that communication style and that goal. All right. Also, I want you to identify which part of the 5-hand model you want to start with. Maybe you want to start at the thumb and work through all 5, practice all 5. But if just one, do just one, you guys. Start somewhere. And so which finger on the 5-step model do you want to be intentional about practicing this week? All right. I will encourage you to figure those things out and write them down. Like I said, put a reminder in your phone for that intentional role plan this week. And I would even encourage you put a reminder in your phone when it comes to which model you're going to practice. Maybe just set a reminder at a certain time each day to breathe. That's powerful. That is so powerful, to set a reminder in your phone to breathe. All right. So I hope you guys accept that challenge and do that. And I also want to drop a link in the chat really quickly. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to wait till I get off of here. Okay. When I log off, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. And it is a link to allow you guys just to sign up for my VIP list. Okay. So if any of these nights were helpful, if you got any nuggets, I just want you just to check out that link. I'm going to, again, drop it once I jump off, and just sign up for the VIP list so you can be aware when different things are happening, whether that's an event, whether that's a special offer. If you sign up for my waiting list, that VIP list, you will be one of the first to know what's happening. All right. So I would just encourage you to do that if anything this week was helpful for you. All right. And so that is our time. Actually went way over than I had planned to tonight, but I have enjoyed you all so much. Thank you for hanging out with me these last 3 days as we talked about Spare the Rod and the Child. And I would also just remind you, you guys, you don't hear nothing else, hear this. All right. The goal is not to be a perfect parent. The goal is to be a more present one. All right. And I believe that as we just begin to practice these tools, as we begin to continue to renew our mind from old thinking and old ways, we'll be more and more present. All right. So shout out to you all for showing up and doing the work. And I hope you guys join the VIP list so we can stay connected. And I will talk to you guys soon. Good night.